Mitch Miller, www.plotm.com, 12/8/2016. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I will not advocate to come after your recreational firearms. So here's the deal. To the Bush clan, when George H.W. Bush had his moment, I believe that he was in a elementary school in Florida. So he was in the same time zone as New York City and D.C. when the terrorist attack occurred in the United States. Interesting moment in time, and decisions were made, but I believe you should be held responsible for those decisions. So to the Bush clan, who pretty much owned Texas, which conveniently covers 2 time zones, probably the only state in the United States that covers 2 time zones, and to the man from the United States trying to allow the Department of State and the First Family, the Obama family, to establish that there are multiple time zones on one landmass using satellite phones. But to the Bush clan, I've made in writing on my website my proposal. The FAA is grounded. If you want to allow flights from outside of the United States via other federal aviation agencies or administrations, that is permitted. I made my proposal for McClusky Airfield for all private jets. Okay, to the Bushes, your Texas Rangers need to stay in Texas, and you need to facilitate getting every FBI, CIA, NSA, or other agency that carries firearms and has reciprocity agreements to carry firearms into other nations. You need to get them into the country and documented, and they need to stay there. I think my proposal is sound. Only tenured IRS agents are allowed to carry firearms. And President Obama should be permitted to choose his Secret Service that is also allowed to carry firearms. And if he was put into office and not allowed to choose his detail, that is an outrageous situation. And as far as I'm concerned, I can explain in multiple ways how the first black family in the White House was basically held hostage by corporate America. And I will stand by that. Here's the situation to the Bush clan. If you would like to liquidate all Enron contracts or any other energy subsidiary contracts that you have ever had opened or have ever had, because here's a story for you. What happens when you teach a bunch of leaders in the Middle East or elsewhere how to play cricket instead of the rules of engagement? I don't know. Let's think about that one, Bush clan. So I made another proposal. You can meet me on an aircraft carrier somewhere, maybe around the UK, and we'll have a good old cricket match. I think it's a pretty good one because nobody's trained how to fight with cricket paddles, right? When you meet me there, I want every contract ended. That will be the end of any United States energy contract with the military. I've proposed a secondary situation with Finnish oil to facilitate that. So that's the situation there. Secondly, we've had an occurrence in history where the White House has actually been burned to the ground. We do not want that to happen again, but to all you people in the United States forming these corporate governments and thinking that you can fly your private jets out and get further and further in front of the First Family traveling somewhere or any other type of leadership, to this I say to you, shut the lights down in the White House shut it down, lock the door, and when you're ready to hand the key to the front door of the White House over to President Obama on an aircraft carrier in the Mediterranean, where we can count every drone that has ever been built by the United States. That's what I suggest to you. So the drone program ends, and that is it. Donald Trump will not take office with a privatized, mechanized, military, flying, killing machine drone program. That is it. So those are my suggestions. I'm going to shoot my first scene for my Festivus special, which I was hoping not to be here for, but it looks like I'm going to be around for a while. So I'm going to shoot that first scene tonight, but you have the date, and I think I've been very clear, and I think that the first family should be free to travel through a very safe nation with the leader known as Vladimir Putin across his landmass, so that we can establish communication. And I've also detailed how I want to ensure that any media or any detail on that family should be forced to be stood at a certain situation, and that we can establish that the media is viable and that the detail is away from that family. And I'm happy to do a similar situation with President Obama and the leader of the Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin, at his location near Moscow or wherever his location is, to set another media situation out there. I'm happy to interview or facilitate interviewing any type of details for security, and I'm sure that Mr. Putin has a very large military, and he is able to have spread his generals throughout his nation, so that if a train situation, a rail situation did occur, he is able to meet with those people that may be encountering some of the same situations where leadership has been isolated or singled out, and things start to coalesce around those people. So that's it for this segment. Also, I just do want to say, as to the moment that has occurred in that President George Bush's mind, I have clearly stated that I have intel for the President of the United States. To you, I say, I need to speak to the President of the United States, Barack Obama. That is very clear. I titled it Intel, but I will give you some information, because as I've said, I've noticed posters here mentioning LSD and God. To any former former intelligence officer of the CIA, United States, I would say this. It's difficult to travel through modern society with a program that is well known and well publicized involving LSD and hallucinogenics. And whether it's inconsiderate to that I ended up here or not, I'll say this. Here's the information. I don't see anything about Lucy Liu or Sarah Silverman in this area, or the Obamas leaving the nation and it being in Europe on this segment. What I do see here is that somebody fired up some generators and blasted some halogen lights across a body of water and shone that very brightly across there. So, you know, there are classical tests, and here's what I'm working on with the media if I'm stuck here as a bartender forever, figuring out what happened to the world. This is your family lake. This is your family pond. Does that tree look familiar? Does that tree look familiar to you? Okay, very good.